Hey, Supreme Leader. We have them tied on the...
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with another video. This time I'm talking to you about how I put a movie theater in my attic. We're going to be watching a little bit of Last Jedi while we do this, and, you know, the most favorite movie of all time. So first of all, I want to talk about how I made it, how we made it. I didn't do it all by myself. The screen, the equipment, the whole space, and how we converted this attic into a movie theater. This is a 16-foot screen from edge to edge, 16 foot, and like 196 inches around there, so something like that. But it was a lot of work, and let's get into showing you how we did it. Okay, so here is where we started. It all started by making an opening to get into this. So this is unused attic space on the second floor. Here's the space before we did anything with it. Here's the wall that, well, it's now our movie theater screen. There's my buddy, my electrician guy that was over here helping me. We had to kind of reframe that part there so it's straight up. And they're standing up looking down. And then there's for my AC guy to come over and figure out how to tap into all that. And then we had to rebuild this floor, build it up more with a, supposed to have 2x12s for flooring for upstairs. And then I'm going to show you here in a couple of slides the floor. That's that other slower section. I was going to have a step down, but it wasn't built up enough, so we had to build it up stronger. That's the wall we took out to go to it, which is now a pocket door. And then the beginnings of the flooring, and you're going to see the crosshatch to strengthen and have a stronger floor. So you have to, it starts with the flooring. If you're going to do anything in an attic space, you need a solid floor. So what you do is we cut these 16 inches apart, because that's the standard, 16 inches wide, and put them in there. And as you can see, when you lay your sheets, your 4x8 sheets of plywood down, there's going to be places to drill into them. So to put the screws in to hold it all in place so the floor doesn't shift on you. Okay, here it is, pretty much all done with the floor, working on supporting the walls a little bit more, running the electrical. Here's the actual screen. Now the key to making this screen work, and I don't have like a cloth screen or any sort of material over it, it's just Solo White paint over a very flat surface. So what you do is you use the mud to make it flat, and you make it perfectly flat. And you got to go over it with a few coats there to make sure it's 100% flat, because any little ripple is going to show up on the screen. Alright, so then as you can see, we insulated everything. Every square inch of this bad boy has been insulated. And I think we got an R12 insulation. The best we could get, the Pink Panther stuff, whatever. And here we are with more work getting done. And every day it seemed like at the end of the day of work, I wanted to clean it up, make it look as good as possible. But just keeping up with cleaning up and salvaging as many materials as you can for the next day. Putting in the sheetrock was actually pretty easy, the drywall. But you find that some of the boards have, some of the wood is a little bit shifted. So it's not perfectly straight, and you're going to have to make allowances for that. And then here we are with just different angles. Now all those had to get cut down so that you could put in a sheetrock and make it a little bit so they're all the same. And that was a challenge too. One of the biggest problems you run into is that when people are framing a house in its attic space, they don't think about it, the finishing, how you're going to finish it out. So you have to kind of overcome some of the sloppiness in the work, because they don't finish it out from the attic side. They don't worry about how it looks. So anyway, this is with electrical in, and she started adding more sheetrock. I had a family downstairs, had to not forget about them. Testing out projectors, well into finding the right projector. I had to order them, ordered mine from Amazon, and I'll be showing you that here in a little bit. And then here's some more just different angles that had to get cut. You know, I ended up saying, hey, I'm going to go and get my own staple gun so I can help finish up this insulation. And hanging the drywall looks easy. It's a lot harder than you think. I've gotten a lot better at it over time. Here we are with taping and bedding, and it was an experience. I think it took me 6 hours to do the lower half, and then I went ahead and let my carpenters finish the rest of that. I was trying to keep it as cheap as possible. And here we are with more of that. I used my own drywall jack, made my own, I guess you could say. Here we are with finishing up the higher areas. This is, and then the finishing out of it. I went ahead and had the carpet professionally done and then this beam here. Now I had stained it and installed it myself, and I guess there's the picture of the staining of it. Just something new that I've never done before. It was a lot of fun. And then the end result, we watched Charlie Brown as our first movie in here. Next, I want to talk about lighting. Your lighting options, I use these dimmers. And as going from pitch dark and lighting it up. So the thing is with the dimmers is you can I have one wire to the back half where you're sitting and the other to the front half where the screen is. And so that if you turn on the lights, and I'll show you that, demonstrate you that you're going to get to see why it's important to split that up. Now, as you can see, here we are watching a movie, and if you turn the lights on, just flip a switch, it's completely washed out. With a projector and projection, especially, putting a little movie theater together, especially during dark scenes, you need as much as you can. Now, I can kick some light on over here, adjust it a little bit. We got a little bit of light. Does wash it a bit, but not much. You can have enough to see what you're doing and still watch the movie. Next, I want to kind of show you the idea that I had and how I decided to optimize the space. And with attic space, you're going to see that you don't have, it follows a roof line, you got a vaulted ceiling or whatever. And I'm lucky enough that this was framed out in such a way that it didn't have trusses. If it's framed with trusses, you're looking at a different situation. But this was framed in a way that you didn't have trusses. So anyway, with that being told, the lower area where the couches are is almost useless. So that's where we put the couches so that you could look up onto a 16-foot screen. And so to me, that's the perfect use of this space. And I think it adds up to, oddly enough, 400 feet or square feet or something like that. Next, I want to talk to you about the lighting. Now, the lighting, I used LEDs, the daylight LEDs, and the reason for that is because I want it as cool as possible up here, and LEDs, super bright, probably never ever going to have to change them. And then they're also cool. They run cool.
Did you hear a word I just said?
I think what?
I want to talk about speakers. Went ahead and ran the speaker wire and installed the speakers while we were working on this deal. And super easy. That's probably the easiest part of this job. But having some speakers right above you, right above where you're sitting, makes for quite a great experience in the movie theater. So next I want to talk about equipment. I use an old PlayStation 3. And that's good for watching Blu-ray movies or videos or popping videos of the kids or whatever. And then there's my backup projector if my main one fails, and it's just a cheap, I spent $13 on it, but they're like $100. But I'll show you the one I use the most. Okay, this is the Optima projector. I don't have the exact model number on it, but I got it off of Amazon. It's a short throw. If you search short throw Optima projectors on Amazon, it's probably the only one that they have. It's a 3000 lumen, and really I think I'd like to have a 35 lumen, but 3500 lumen, but this gets the job done. The downside is that you don't want to use the speaker on this at all ever. It's a terrible speaker, and for $500 is a great option. When it came out it was $1200, and they have 4K ones out now, but they're real expensive. What is having a movie theater without having some snacks? Got this popcorn machine off Amazon. It's a nostalgia popcorn machine, and then this Magic Chef fridge over here was a Black Friday deal that was only like $100. I left the plastic on it, so if the kids bump into it or whatever, it doesn't dent it up or scratch it up. We didn't need to use the entire space for a movie theater. This other little section is just getting used for storage, more or less, and I display some stuff. It's where the cell barge is going to go. in February. Memorabilia. I like these laser discs, even though my player doesn't work. And then some movies, games, and a few other things. If y'all haven't seen my video on 9 Death Stars, how I put them together to make this big circle, check it out. I'm going to start hanging some posters. I've got all the Star Wars posters. Just want to make it look really good and tasteful, and try to figure out exactly where to put them. So, all in all, the one thing I would have done different, and I think every time you do a project like this, you say, hey, I would do something different. But if you look over in the corner, the sharp corner, I could have thrown this and made it look bigger by rounding the edges. Would have been a lot more work, a lot more time, but in the end it would have been worth it if I would have rounded the edges and made it even a bigger screen and be more impactful. But I like it the way it is. That's the one thing I would have done different. Anyway, like, subscribe, leave some comments, let me know your take on this or what other ideas you have for movie theaters, because guess what, this is probably not going to be the last time we do something like this, so I like all the input I can get. Titanium Hanger out.